Proteger é um ato de amor e pode começar com uma ação simples, como pensar sobre o futuro. A Icatu ajuda você a proteger quem você ama em todas as fases da vida.
Rehen, estamos aqui novamente no Rio2C Live. Em nome do Rio2C, eu gostaria de agradecer a presença de todos aqui reunidos, palestrantes, moderador e a você que nos assiste. É uma honra e satisfação apresentar o painel Humanização da Prática Médica. Conosco a empreendedora digital e professora Sonoo Thadaney e o neurocientista Jorge Moll. A conversa vai ser sobre a importância das relações humanas e inovações tecnológicas na prática médica durante a pandemia. A mediação fica por conta do meu amigo Marcelo Leite, jornalista. Esse painel pode ter a legenda ativada diretamente no canal. Quando for ativar, é só escolher o idioma. Marcelo, a bola está contigo.
Well, I'll start in English, if that's okay. Okay. Hello, everybody who are online today for this Rio2C conversation about artificial intelligence and its contribution to the humanization of medical practice. Terribly relevant issue, especially in times of COVID-19, right? The disease that has now infected millions and killed hundreds of thousands in the world. Many of them elderly people who passed away in intense care units devoid of warmth and away from their loved ones. My name is Marcelo Leite, and I am a science and environment columnist with Folha de São Paulo, a leading daily newspaper in Brazil. I'd like to thank neuroscientist Rehen, a terrific source for information for us journalists like me, and also a very good friend for this invitation to moderate this panel. My conversation partners have already been introduced by Stevens. They are, as you know, Sonoo Thadaney, Executive Director of Presence, a center at Stanford Medicine, and its program Bedside Medicine, which I encourage you to look on in the net for more information and their awesome work in this field. Jorge Moll Neto is the neuroscientist in charge of IDOR, the research institute maintained by Rede IDOR, a major network of private hospitals in Brazil. With the help of advanced brain imaging technologies, he's done pioneer work on the origins of human altruism, friendship, among other important issues. So without further ado, let's get started. I first would like to ask you both to tell us a bit about what kind of impact has COVID-19 had in your life and work. Are you at home now, for instance? Sonoo, would you like to start?
Happy to. Firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this panel and for this work. I'm sorry we're not all in person. I'm glad we can get the content of the information across, even though we're not face-to-face. And the second thing I'd like to do is, by the way, thank people at the front lines. The front lines in our hospitals and clinics around the world, the front lines in our grocery stores, in our emergency rooms, our ambulance drivers, and what have you. So a big thank you to all the people who do not have the privilege that I have, which is to work from home, but only 10 minutes away from my workplace of Stanford University. I'm sheltering in place, fortunate to have my husband and my 2 adult daughters who've decided to shelter with us, and working furiously on all kinds of projects, many of them, if not all, connected to COVID-19, with colleagues across the US and the world, including colleagues like Jorge.
So George, what about you?
Yes, tell a little bit. So first of all, thank you again for this for being so fast and efficient and turning this the Rio2C event into a virtual event, and that's a fast move, and that's very good because a lot of people can can profit from that in several ways, and this this event has been very visible, and I think it's bringing a lot of bringing together like humanistic aspects, art and science is a very welcome thing. And as for myself, I'm sheltering in here in California, where we are and Sonoo were not exactly neighbors, but you know, we can't wave to each other, but we live close by. And I'm here with my kids. You know, my kids are, you know, it's always a struggle getting them homeschooling, chasing them. It's a big change in routine, but we are doing well, fortunately. So regarding the work, Fernanda, my wife, and I, so we run IDOR. We've been traveling every month to Brazil to help run the institutes and also opening new venues here in California, partnerships, including with Sonoo and Stanford. So it's kind of this virtual routine has been part of our lives for a long time now and very intensively. But I must say that with the COVID pandemic, the intensity of work has kind of tripled. It's been very intense. And since we are also trying to help with campaign hospitals, dealing with our own hospitals, but also helping build campaign hospitals for the general public, and at the same time, putting together a number of projects from IDOR to try to combat the COVID in several aspects, it's been very intensive and very rewarding at the same time. Rewarding because we are seeing this common enemy, which is the virus, is you know, in a strange ways making people get together. Even you know, competitors, they are giving hands and trying to find solutions together. So that's I hope this is like a legacy that we get from this the horrible pandemic.
So I'd like to start with Sonoo, and before going into COVID-19 directly, I'd like to ask in general terms about artificial intelligence or AI. Besides facilitating diagnostics, automation, and management, do you think AI can benefit the patients directly instead of only maybe health providers first and above all?
Absolutely. I think many of you know that my colleague Mike Matheny out of Vanderbilt University and myself co-led a group of 30 scholars across the US and Canada for the National Academy of Medicine in Washington, D.C., and published a book that came out in December called AI in Healthcare: The Hope, the Hype, the Promise, the Peril. By the way, the book is free and downloadable anywhere in the world, and I'm happy to share the link with your community as well. And in that book, and overall, we reflect on the fact that William Osler a long time ago said, the good physician treats the disease. The great physician treats the patient who has the disease. And if we can actually create and deploy AI appropriately and get appropriate consent and access to information, and let AI do the cognitive load to create space for the humans to be more human, the humans who are the entire clinical team, and focus much more on the humanism of medical care, where we get to know the patient, their friends and family who are their caregivers, and better do what Osler asked us to do over 100 years ago, which is to be great physicians that treat the patient who has the disease, not just the disease.
And Jorge, what about your field of expertise, imaging technologies? Would applications of AI also bring extra benefits for patients apart from, let's say, cost reduction or anything like that?
So I'm recalling a phrase from my good friend Roland Zahn. He's a psychiatrist at King's College London, and when the whole AI was kind of exploding in a healthcare space, so one day he said, "I don't want to be ruled by evil AI. I want good AI to serve me." And I think that's the message Sonoo just said, but captured in a kind of outburst from him. And I think we're starting to see how technology in AI can really help us. It's kind of there is this scary scenario of AI, deep AI ruling us. But as time goes by, what we're seeing, the several revolutions, digital revolutions, AI is one more tool. And people are still struggling to see exactly how much it can help. There is the hype, Sonoo just said, and there's the hope. And we are now seeing a pretty interesting application for AI. We just have to be patient, and we have to be wary of where AI can be damaging, where AI can be. But it's a tool. It can be used for good or for bad. A lot of AI is already ingrained. It's working, beyond our perception, right? In our phones, in our Zoom conference, as we're doing here. There's a lot of AI happening here to optimize communication. So I think AI it came to stay. It's already operational. It's the new applications that we're looking for. So to give one example that we are presently working with, so one of the projects which we are putting to work is contact monitoring and helping data with data analysis to inform governments. Right? It's a project called Dados do Bem. It's been launched in record time. We started with this initiative. It's a partnership between our institute, IDOR, and Zoox. It's a smart data company. We all engaged on this, and we're just kind of replicate what South Korea did, the US starting to do now, to get contact monitoring and offer, combining this with testing even asymptomatic patients who had contact with COVID positive patients. Now, gathering all this massive data. And I must say the telephone companies are now partners. They'll be helping us. So potentially we reach millions of people, and we produce data to help governments take action. Now, to do this, we need a lot of intelligence, and a part of this intelligence will be provided by algorithms, including machine learning and AI. So there is no, we can't, it's very hard now to compute things without resourcing to machine learning. And this will be key to spend resources in a rational way, how to do this in a more rational way, cost-effective way. I can tell more later.
I'd like to add one point to what Jorge said, which is, as you build these algorithms and you use the data, firstly, the data has to be, and in the case of COVID-19, given the reality, has to be representative of the population that is actually going to serve, versus only picking the data that is easily accessible, number one. And number two, the teams that build these algorithms also need to be diverse to represent the realities of everybody in the front line. Take the example of sheltering in place, for instance. Obviously, it is something we have to do. But when you tell people shelter in place and try to be 6 feet apart, some of us with privilege have the opportunity to do that. Not everybody can do shelter in place the same way. So when you think through what shelter in place looks like for everyone, or any algorithmic solution, we have to think through the diversity of the population and what their needs are. And if they cannot do shelter in place, what can they do? So you're not creating further disparities than what we already have on our planet.
Yeah, this relates to my next question. Equity and inclusion are the focus point of the Presence Center at Stanford when it comes to applying AI to healthcare. But the required hardware, staff, and training, the cost of all that costs a lot of money. Probably not available at small hospitals, nor accessible to poorer neighborhoods, regions, or entire countries. Are technology and big data bound to make inequality in healthcare even worse, maybe?
So I think it really depends. Yuval Noah Harari actually has this great book that came out 2 years ago, I think by now, called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And one of the quotes in that book has stuck with me, where he says, humans were always far better at inventing tools than using them wisely. We can build these tools, But as we develop and deploy them, we should address and ensure that we don't further exacerbate existing inequities of social determinants of health or access to healthcare, etc. So in this AI publication that I referred to earlier, we talk about how every intervention should actually be measured through what we call the quintuple aim. In healthcare, for many years, we have measured every intervention on three things. One, what is the patient experience? Two, what is the impact on the population? And three, reducing cost. In the last, I don't know, 5-8 years, we woke up to a new reality of burnout on the part of clinicians. So we added a quadruple aim called care team well-being. And we argue that it's time to move to a quintuple aim where every intervention should be measured around equity and inclusion as well, because that which we measure is what we will develop on. To more specifically answer your question about how do you address the availability of AI, big data, etc., more widely, the reality is, we propose that there should be something that we call an AI consult. The reality of AI brilliance is that it doesn't have to be there in person. It can be there remotely. So just as you call or consult for certain specialties, maybe there should be an AI consult that is more at a regional level, but available to a wider group of organizations, etc. So hospitals and clinics, etc., or clinicians that are in rural areas or where there is more of a digital divide, etc., that consultation can happen remotely and they can still benefit from it.
So I'd like to add Sonoo's remarks, just going back to philosophy and the origins of medicine. So Hippocrates, that's what we swear or become physicians, right? We have the Hippocratic, how do you call it? Juramento.
Oath.
The oath.
Hippocratic oath.
Yes. Thanks, Sonoo. So do no harm is very important. And this should guide, so we can say about medicine, Hippocratic oath, but also if we think about science fiction, like Isaac Asimov, who those were fans of science fiction, like I am, when he conceived the idea of the robots, intelligent machines, he had these three principles of the positronic brain, right? And that kind of do no harm was very much part of it. So machines should not have the ability to harm humans. We are now approaching a phase where we have to really think about this, because these principles can really be embedded into machines. And then I think we have a kind of we have to call again the philosophers, moral philosophy, into the game. I think it's really the moment to humanize. When they talk about humanizing medicine, we really need to go back to values and how we can. There is a big science of values now. We have one researcher, Ronald Fisher, now working at the Institute, is a specialist in human values. And this has been like an area of experimental area of psychology, kind of detached from applications. I think it's a very good moment to bring this back and actually enrich our applications, including AI, with human values and with principles.
Well, I'd like to go now into the COVID-19 specifically and its impact in medical practices and patients and so on. So the center presence, as far as I understand, is about being with the patient, touching, talking to the patient, being present, right? All of which are now prevented, so to say, by the risk of contagion. What is left of bedside manners under the present circumstances?
Great question. And that is something that we started thinking through almost immediately after COVID-19 became a reality. And just yesterday, we launched what we're calling Telepresence 5. We believe, and as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has really upended this traditional visit between patients and healthcare providers all over the world. And a lot of what we see being delivered, at least over here, is happening through telemedicine to reduce, as you point out, this risk of infection and to protect both the providers and the patients. So what we did was, earlier this year in the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA, we had a publication that was outlining evidence-based practices to help clinicians foster humanism in the clinical encounter. We assembled a team over 2 years that worked for 2 years, and to Jorge's point, the team included philosophers and ethicists and sociologists and anthropologists, as much as it included clinicians of various kinds, etc. And we built what we call Presence 5. And just yesterday, we have adapted and launched a free video that is available both on YouTube as well as on the Stanford CME site that we're calling Telepresence 5, which is about a ritual for connection in virtual visits. So the first piece of what we talk about in Telepresence 5 is to prepare with intention. And we ask clinicians to pause and refresh between their virtual visits and familiarize themselves with the next patient. The next thing we talk about is to listen intently and completely, where it's important to nod and maintain eye contact and look at the camera and not multitask just because you can and it's not visible below your face. Also to agree on what matters most, which is about establishing in a virtual visit the agenda that incorporates what the patient's priorities and goals are. And then the fourth one is about connecting with the patient's story, engage virtually with their home. We have this unique opportunity to now see them in their home environment and the social support around that. So to connect with that, I see your dog, I see you have a guitar. Do you play music? Who is that in the background? Do you want to introduce them? And finally, it is to explore emotional cues, tune into facial expressions, body language, and changes in tone and volume to truly understand what is happening with the patient as well. In fact, I'll end with a quote from my friend and colleague, Abraham Verghese, who is, as you know, the faculty director of our center. In his last book called Cutting for Stone, there is a quote where it reads, "Tell us, please, what treatment in an emergency is administered by ear." I met his gaze and I did not blink. "Words of comfort," I said to my father. In this space, clinicians offer healing when we lack a cure. And being present for patients and their families matters because, as Maya Angelou, who is an American poetess, wrote, "People will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." So being present and caring, listening and honoring human relationships can be delivered regardless of how we are gowned and completely covered. We can do it equitably and inclusively.
Jorge, I know you are not involved in healthcare directly on a daily basis. You are more of a researcher, as I understand. But I'd like to pick your brain on the issue of the situation in an ICU, intensive care unit. People are dying now in this kind of environment, assisted only infrequently by doctors and nurses dressed like astronauts, unable to touch them without medical implements. What, in your opinion, can be done to alleviate such a horrifying situation?
Yeah, that's a complex thing. So before, let's think about this. So the origins of stress, like it's the patient, the situation, it's the personal risk, it's all your social environment, all the risks involved, your relatives and your friends, and so on, and the intrinsic stress in the ICU and emergency department. So these are the most stressful environments. And during this time, the stress is kind of exponential, right? As we saw even in New York, in a developed country, there's a lot of emergency rooms and ICUs where healthcare professionals didn't have the proper equipment, protective equipment. So if we talk about this, it's even worse, right? People not having the equipment to protect themselves and to protect the patients they see. So we've seen this it's all over the news, And that is telling. It's very telling that we were not prepared for this, and we knew it was going to happen. Nobody knew when, but we know these things happen from time to time. So the first thing is awareness from governments and institutions that we need to be prepared for this from the healthcare perspective, from the scientific perspective, which is a point I know we're going to unpack in this discussion, right? Science is essential to get prepared. Now, we take the scenario where people are properly dressed, protected with this equipment. The impact with the bilateral impact is huge, right? So, for example, one of our doctors in our hospital, she said that. So what is heartbreaking for me is not be able to see the patient smile and to offer my smile. This is hugely penetrating in terms of the impact of on stress, right? So the healthcare professionals, they feel that as well. It's a source of stress, lack of direct body communication, patient communication. I don't think we have solutions for that. Sonoo might cite a few examples. Yesterday we were talking, she gave me an example, a very simple way that they do in the Ebola, she can comment on, and that we could adopt. For example, if we have like full access to face, we have or pictures of people who are attending, or a picture of patients, that could already alleviate. It's a very simple thing, but could already alleviate that kind of stress. We are all struggling to see how we can reduce that kind of stress and increase humanization in these environments. So for more well-equipped hospitals, of course, this is not the case for most public hospitals, which is very heartbreaking. We can make use of screens and where patients can potentially communicate, have a face-to-face with their relatives. But it's very hard. We have all the sterilization process, so it's very complicated to do this fast speed as things are happening. So what else? We've been deploying some programs also.
So I'll add to what Jorge's. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to mention that we've been also trying to implement some healthcare stress reduction programs for the healthcare professionals, including, for example, meditation or a list of practices which are have been established, like how to be grateful during your day, even in the face of adversity, how to support your family, etc. There are some very simple recommendations that can be followed, and Ron Fisher is involved in that. And we are in the process of creating some digital, app-based, for the general public, that they can kind of a self-care, use this as a self-care to minimize, to increase resilience and reduce stress. But we're all struggling. We are trying to see.
Yeah, it's a new situation that nobody has foreseen. Anyway, so we talked somewhat about the patients and the healthcare professionals, but I would like to discuss a little the situation of the relatives. Many of them are not able anymore to be present at the passing of their loved ones, and not even in many cases being able to bury them with proper grieving rituals. Is there anything healthcare providers and professionals can do to alleviate their suffering in this special condition?
Great question. As Jorge mentioned, we have implemented, at least for the patients, and when we interact with even the family members, we do it via video and stuff like that. But especially for the patients and the testing sites, we have stickers that are the photograph of the professional that's going to be working with the patient on that. And then we have, in other spaces, we've had to deal with this before. So in many cultures, we don't touch as a way of showing we care. This is a classic sign of putting your hand over your heart to say, I care, I love, I listen. So there are visual things that one can do, etc. Whereas for family members, one of the things this COVID-19 reality has created is the fact that, we as humans are afraid of our own mortality. And of course, none of us want COVID-19 to be the cause of our mortality for us, our loved ones, or anyone else. Mortality is a reality. So preparing for that last chapter of life is important, regardless of whether we have pandemics or not. And that has to do with communicating firstly to the clinical team in terms of what your expectations are and what your boundaries are in terms of care, but also with your loved ones in terms of what matters to you and why you're communicating what you are to your clinical teams, etc. And then when it comes to the caring of the family and friends when a loved one passes away and they were unable to say that last goodbye, etc., I don't think it falls only to the clinical team. I think it falls to us as communities as a whole. If there's one thing COVID-19 has taught us very, very clearly, is that there is no other. We're all in this together. So we have to come up with solutions that work for all of us and each of us, whether it has to do with diagnosis and treatment, or it has to do with grieving.
I'd like to ask now for both of you a question, a more political question. We are all of us here in this discussion live in a country or in two countries where the presidents Trump and Bolsonaro have had a very controversial behavior when it comes to COVID-19. Do you think that this kind of behavior coming from our leaders are bound to make the experience, the societal experience of COVID-19 even worse?
So I'll speak for myself and not for the university I work for. So let me be clear on that. If I want to bake a cake, I call my friends who know how to bake. If I want to roast a tandoori chicken, I call my friends who know how to roast tandoori chickens. This is a health issue. The leaders in this should be people who are steeped in healthcare and science. They should not get involved with the political world any more than others who make tandoori chicken or politics should be involved in making decisions and direction as it relates to a health issue.
I completely agree. And we have seen this in the US. In Brazil, dramatically, we live in a very polarized country, right? And to see how technical things like clinical trials, drugs, and have been politicized for both sides is horrible. Because then, as we have a saying in Brazil, I don't know if it applies in the US, that everybody has a physician inside. I mean, everybody believes they're a physician, right? And oh yeah, I know this. Everyone becomes a specialist in all sorts of topics, and this is really the beginning of the end, right? Where specific knowledge becomes debunked. It's not believed anymore, and everything happens in discussions in social media. And as we have also witnessed even kind of colleagues who are scientists or physicians, when they kind of contaminate themselves with political ideology, they start to say a lot of, weird things, right? Take positions they shouldn't. And that's a product of the human mind. The human mind is a very political, social mind. And sometimes people giving opinions as a specialist, even being a specialist in a topic, but then speaking about another topic, you can hear very strange things coming out of the mouths. And of course, that if that applies even to physician sciences, etc., what can we say about politicians?
Yeah, very weird things we hear nowadays, of course. I think we have about 10 minutes left, and I wouldn't let you off the hook without asking one question that's very dear to me. What is to be expected in the wake of COVID-19? Shall we think about another outbreak of trauma and mental disease this time, with all the stress that we are going through, especially healthcare workers and patients and their relatives? How should we as a society prepare for such an outcome, especially if social distancing and isolation turn out to be unavoidable for a longer period?
I'll start. Preparing for pandemics. You know, Bill Gates was talking about this in 2015. There was a Netflix series that came out in January this year that was being shot last year called Pandemic. We have Hollywood movies like Contagion. They all cover what needs to be done. What we lack is the political will to prepare for the future and to understand that pandemics like COVID-19, they don't know any other. We're in this together, and our preparations, our plans, our investments should be for us as a collective humanity, not just for those who have privilege. As far as your question on mental health is concerned, you know, whether I look at the mental health of clinicians, of other frontline workers, of teachers, of parents who are homeschooling, lots of people are struggling with mental health issues. And this is where humanity fills the gap and can feed the soul. So I look at our medical students who are unable to do the traditional clinical rotations. That's part of their teaching. They're right now raising their hands and saying, I'll deliver childcare to our clinicians who can no longer do that, or doing drives for PPE for community clinics that cannot afford it. And then you look at countries that were prepared, whether you look at South Korea or Taiwan, Iceland, which is a small country, they had better testing, better contact tracing, isolating for the appropriate treatment and recovery, etc. The number of cases they have is much lower. Look at Australia and New Zealand. Very different political environments, by the way, in all the countries I'm mentioning, but all prepared, all got on the same page and started delivering what they needed to deliver for everybody, not just for some of us.
Jorge.
So, adding to Sonoo's excellent remarks, I would like to make a positive note about technology. We speak a lot about the negative unintended consequence of technology, but sometimes we have very positive unintended consequences. And I would say, what are we doing now? The ability to communicate, several people communicating with, I don't know, thousands of people outside is like magic, right? We would never imagine we'd be able to do this, 30 or 40 years ago, on a face-to-face like this. And this is a tool that will be fundamental to tackle this pandemic. Contact tracing, and speaking about access, right? I don't know, I cannot speak about other countries, but I can say that in Brazil, the access to smartphones is huge, right? A lot of people, even lower socioeconomic classes, they do have access to smartphones, cheaper smartphones, and this can be very critical on how we address this. I would say this is a positive consequence of this. And the other point I would like to emphasize, like when we speak about the role of science, right? And I don't know who said that, but we normally say science is seeking the truth. But a better definition, science is seeking knowledge. We will never achieve the truth, the ultimate truth. And seeking knowledge is an act of humility. We have to be humble to say that we never achieve the complete truth. And I think it's a philosophical standpoint that we all can take, that we're all moving towards acquire more knowledge, more information, qualified information, so we can make informed decisions.
I see. Well, on this note of optimism brought by Jorge, I'd like to ask you one last question, maybe because of the time, about a debate that's taking place in Brazil right now about the outcome or how are we going to come out of COVID-19 as a society. Some people think we are going to be better individuals and better society because we rediscovered, so to say, altruism and the importance of being together with other people and taking care of each other. Do you take part in this optimistic way of seeing the way out of COVID-19?
I'm ambivalent. I think we have an opportunity out there. We do have an opportunity to come out stronger and more united. At the same time, the poverty legacy that this thing is going to leave us is very threatening. You know, if we think about the Maslow pyramid, people, first of all, they want to survive, to be alive, to be able to eat, and to be able to take care of their family, right? So if they feel threatened in very basic ways, it's very hard to think highly. I just hope that we can come out of this as soon as possible with safety. And again, without politicizing the thing, we have to be pragmatic, practical. It's not about being in a lockdown forever or just coming out of lockdown irrationally, but we really need to think and measure our healthcare system capacity and relax the lockdown regionally, geographically, as much as we can, monitoring the system, and then being more stringent where it has to be. So we can, at the end of the day, or at the end of the year, be kind of achieve some herd immunity, because the vaccine will not come so soon. Sorry, not to be more positive about that. I tend to be positive, but my main concern is the economic impact, especially on the most underserved population.
I will add, I cannot speak.
I'm not optimistic at all. Okay. I'm not optimistic at all about that either. So Sonoo, please.
I was saying I'm not from Brazil. I'm originally from India. And I think what we need is social distancing, and we need to be sheltering in place. But we need to accept a reality that Jorge is pointing out, which is people need food, clothing, and shelter. And it is our responsibility then as communities to actually provide some basic services to people if we're going to ask them to shelter in place. We cannot say starve in place. It's shelter in place.
Okay. So I thank you, Sonoo and Jorge, for this wonderful talk. It was a pleasure for me to host this conversation. And I must say I'm not optimistic at all about the outcome or the way out of the COVID-19. I'm really, really concerned about it, but who knows what the future will bring. So, Stevens, up to you.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Thank you, Sonoo, Jorge, and Marcelo for this awesome panel and for the discussion about the importance of great physicians, great scientists, of technology, and especially of caring during the COVID pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Stay safe.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Obrigado, Marcelo. Grande abraço.
Obrigado.
Abraço.
Thank you, Sonoo. Tchau, Gito. Valeu, Marcelo.